Hello everyone, Professor Hartman here again. Today we're going to talk about different isolation mechanisms that create new species. First example here is geographic isolation. This happens when you have a species that becomes isolated from other members or other populations of that same species due to a large mass of land that develops between two populations. For instance, if we have a group of lizards, a population or a species of lizards, and this population inhabits a specific land mass, and over thousands, even millions of years, this land mass changes into say a mountain. There's uplift and then a mountain is created. Well, this population could form actually two populations of lizards, we'll say. And these two groups of lizards, even though they're the same species, if for instance one group remains on one side of the mountain and the other group is isolated on the other side of the mountain, and they never get together again, they can evolve and change into their own distinct species. And this is what happens when you have a large body of water that separates two populations of the same species, or a mountain range that will separate two populations of the same species. This is what happens when you have geographic isolation. The next type of mechanism is behavioral isolation. This happens when you have distinct behaviors or displays or certain maybe bird songs, or we have different dances that certain species might display, or color patterns, or just distinct behaviors, or nest building. And certain groups or members of that population may adapt or evolve different types of behaviors, and then these behaviors attract the opposite sex, and then over time those characteristics, those behavioral characteristics, will separate those species into two distinct populations, and then they will just keep getting farther and farther apart genetically, because their behaviors will prevent them from breeding with members of that other population. Even though they're the same species, the females, maybe they're not attracted to the male because that male doesn't do the dance that she likes. And so over time, behaviors can separate populations of species and therefore create, once again, two new species. The third isolating mechanism is mechanical isolation. This happens when you have a specific body part that will totally prevent the mating of the male and the female. And for instance, if the male, if the shape of his shell, for instance, if his shell prevents him from fitting on a female's shell, we're talking about tortoises here. If one tortoise, the male cannot, doesn't, his shell, his underneath shell is not concave enough, he won't fit on the female shell. Or if her shell is too rounded to prevent him from mating with her, then she's going to have to find the specific male, or that male will have to find the specific female where they mechanically fit, where their two body parts will actually allow them to mate. So mechanical isolation deals more with the physical act of mating, and any body part that will prevent those organisms from going through the process of the mating behavior. So mechanical is more of a physical type of a isolating mechanism. Okay, so we have geographic, which is land masses. We have behavioral isolation, which is specific characteristics and displays and bird songs and even color patterns. Some, the color patterns, different squid and mollusk, the mollusk group, they develop these different color. Even fish, they develop some different colors when they display their moods. And then mechanical isolation, once again, is a distinct body part that is preventing the mating. So, hope that helps you, and we'll talk again next time. Have a good day.